Hi folks, Ken Ring here, www.predictweather.com. I thought I'd just give you a wee heads up on what the moon's doing today, the 10th of November 2013. It's actually the first quarter moon today. That means it rises at noon, sets at midnight, and the maximum point, the mid-heaven, when it's directly overhead, was about 5 o'clock this evening. That means 5 o'clock this evening would have been the best time of the day in terms of weather, because when it's in the sky, the moon, there's less likely to be rain, and when it's at the very midpoint of its transit during the day, that's generally the most settled weather. It rose it rose at lunchtime roughly between the southeast and east, and it will set around midnight roughly between the west and southwest. Now, when you look at it in the sky, you won't see it in the morning. First quarter moon, you only see it in the afternoon, because it's out of the sky in the morning. When you see it in the afternoon, its position is where the Earth was about 3 hours before, because the Earth and the moon follow the same path in their orbits. Now, the moon is in Aquarius today. That means the chunk of sky that it's moving through, there are 12 divisions according to the old astrological scheme, and the part they used to call Aquarius, well, it's going through that. Now, when it goes through Aquarius, it tends to coolness, tends to be fairly windy, fairly changeable. Other things that are going on, well, what I usually look at in terms of astrology, if any astrologers are listening, is what's in the particular houses. I first of all look for Mercury. Mercury happens to be in the 4th house. The 4th house is the most important for weather, and when Mercury is in the 4th house, there's occasional rain around the place. Well, I haven't seen that today, although there was a wee shower this afternoon. And I suppose you could call that occasional rain where I live. Then I look for what else is in the 4th house. Well, there happened to be Saturn sitting there, and Saturn and whatever was in the 4th house was in Scorpio today. Now, Saturn in Scorpio also means rain not too far away. Then I look for where Jupiter is, because Jupiter is the most influential planet. It has the most effect on the Sun. Jupiter was in the first house. Jupiter in the 1st house tends to dryness. So really that's what we got. We got more dry than rain, and Jupiter is in the chunk of sky called Cancer. Jupiter in Cancer generally brings fleecy white clouds in the springtime, which is what this is here. Fleecy white clouds and moderate temperatures. So really that's really a sum up of what happened in this particular neck of the woods, and those planetary things impinging on this area. Now, those things that were in the 4th house, they were sitting in Scorpio, and they'll stay that way. Scorpio stays that way, moves off in about 8 days' time. So you can pretty well say that this weather will roughly stay like it is for another few days. The moon, of course, moves, changes sign every 2 days. It's in Aquarius at the moment, so that's the main thing that changes. Venus and Mars also have an effect, because they change rather quickly too. Mercury, of course, does too, but Mercury doesn't stray too far from the Sun. So that's a quick rundown of really from an astrological point of view what's happening today. One rule you might want to take away with is that when the moon is in the sky, when you see it in the sky, when it's above the horizon, there is less likely to be rain. So if you come out of a show at night and you see the moon in the sky, it's probably got very few clouds around it, because the moon tends to clear the sky. It tends to bring the air up towards itself, which pushes away the colder air that wants to come down and condense the water vapor and create clouds. So, rule to take home, moon in the sky, less likely to rain. Doesn't mean that it's not going to rain, it's just less likely to. And when the moon goes below the horizon, if there's rain about, that's when you might get your showers. First quarter moon, which is now, that's liable to happen in the morning before lunch. if there's rain about. So thanks for listening. I hope it's been informative, and I'll see you again.